Let's welcome a man with whom laughter is contagious. It's the totally outrageous Tom Davis!
Great intro,
wow,
Chili. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Contagious, outrageous, it's Davis. How are you, Tom?
I'll tell you, I could do that before every show.
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
She is available for hire, but you've got to get her back for 6:30 every morning. That's the only issue there. So you and Sam having a big old chinwag outside. Good friends with Sam Ryder?
Yes, got a lovely history with Sam Ryder. So he's one of the nicest guys in the business. Just a diamond of a chap. But we were making a film called Your Christmas or Mine, great Christmas movies, two of them out a couple of years ago, and we got sent samples of different musicians who were unsigned, I think, at the time, and Sam was one that we heard. We got him to do a cover for the first movie, and then he went on to his Eurovision success. So for the second movie he came and did the original song, his Christmas song that should have got to number one. And yeah, just a lovely man, just a good energy to be around. You know, some people you feast on their energy. It's a beautiful thing.
And super talented.
Oh, so talented.
You know, there are super talented people and there are really nice people. But I think if you combine the two, he might win the prize for that one.
Yeah, he's just got a full heart, and I think whenever you see him, and he just, like I say, that's what you need in life. I think where we are at the moment in society, the more people you can meet and feel a little bit uplifted by being in their company, 100%. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Your podcast, what do you want to talk about most? It's up to you. Give us the top three so I don't go off topic.
I mean, I need to sell some tickets for the tour because that's where we're
the podcast tour.
No, talk. We're fine with that. That's done. That's we've sold out. I think the rest of the dates. We had a real shaky Dublin.
But you made the most of it.
We did.
It's almost like you orchestrated the shaky Dublin.
Yeah, we had a great time in Dublin in the end. It was more than 15 people there, so we were happy with that. But but my own tour is now I have something like 50 or 60 dates that are Spudgun, which are very Dublin-esque.
All right, 44-day tour. You've only got 44.
Yeah, at the moment, it'll probably go longer, I imagine.
Okay, it's fine. 44-day tour as we sit here today.
Yes.
Spudgun begins in Jan 2026, continues until Feb 2027. Loads of days sold out already, but you can get tickets. BigTomDavis.com. BigTomDavis.com. Wolf and Owl live tour. If you're not sure about this one, go and see that one and then make up your mind. Can you buy tickets for Spudgun at Wolf and Owl Live?
We should probably, a lot more people. There's a lot more people because of the Romesh effect who go to Wolf and Owl. What about
the merch? Because if you buy some Wolf and Owl merch, and on certain merch, which is like double the price, there's a barcode that is actually a physical ticket for the Tom Davis tour.
This is amazing. This is almost like being on Dragon's Den.
It is, isn't it?
There's so much to get my head around.
There's a big Dragon's Den story today in the papers, isn't there?
Is there?
So Stephen Bartlett made the biggest deal ever in Dragon's Den last night, apparently. This is what I'm reading.
I remember being with some friends when Dragon's Den first started who talked about doing an armed robbery on Dragon's Den.
What as a product?
No. They were like, if we went along, we could turn up because there's all that money there. And I was like, it's not real money. I think you'd be quite.
Who were these friends you were talking
They were fools. They weren't real armed robbers. They were just grifters.
All right, so we're selling tickets for Tom's tour. That's what we're doing. Come and get them. Roll up. Here. BigTomDavis.com. And also, like we say, the Wolf and Owl Live podcast tour is rocking and rolling. How is the podcast laptop? Because I know there was a bit of an issue.
There's been a lot of problems with that laptop.
Can we help fund a new one? Or
I might have to go on GoFundMe to get a new laptop.
Is that why you're going on tour?
I'm going on tour so I can buy a laptop.
What's
to compete
up with the laptop, man?
It's coming to the end of its life.
Right.
But I'm also I have a problem with I have sort of almost this melancholy way at looking at inanimate objects. I look at my laptop and I wrote most of the stuff that I've written for TV on that laptop.
Yeah.
I've had it for 10 years, and it's slowly fading,
Yeah.
and I can see the light behind the eyes.
What happens with those? I thought they lasted forever.
No. They're rigged.
Romesh has got a theory, hasn't he? He's got a theory that it depends what you've written on it.
I mean, Jesus, in that case, it's held on for another 6. But the truth is, it's like some of my biggest successes. I think from Murder and Successful through King Gary and The Curse, it's all been on there. Yeah. So I just feel quite sad saying goodbye.
It's funny, your Wolf and Owl Live podcast, which is really, really funny. There's nothing better than listening to two funny people who are mates on a podcast. We're both fans of Smartless. That's 3 funny mates.
My biggest thing ever was when they talked about me on Smartless.
Tell me about that.
That was when I had Anna McKay on.
Right.
And they were talking about Murder and Successful.
Yeah.
And Will Arnett brought up Murder and Successful. Yeah. And then Adam McKay kind of knew what it was. And all of a sudden I had Will Arnett, who's been lovely and obviously went to do the American version, and they were talking about this tiny little show that we made over here, and it was
But he's
phenomenal.
a big Anglophile, isn't he?
Yeah,
he loves London.
He's such a nice man.
He loves London. He's a massive Liverpool fan.
Yeah,
Huge
big Liverpool,
fan.
big John Bishop fan now as well.
Are you mates with him?
I know him well enough. I'm really good friends with his production, like Mark Foreman, who runs his production company. I know well enough, but I find it very weird when someone that I was such an admirer of all his work, and I find it very strange. I still find myself, pinching myself when I'm in that sort of situation.
Your voice and his voice in the same room. Wow, that must be something.
We talked about doing a collab, doing the two characters as a Murder and Successful
That'd be so
crossover.
funny, wouldn't it?
Oh, it'd be a dream to do.
And he's off to drink now.
Yeah,
he's got a new life, hasn't he?
Well, you know what? That's the game changer, isn't it?
Yeah.
For
Are you
me,
off?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
3 years.
How many?
3 years.
Yeah,
Since my daughter was born, I sort of made that deal with myself. I talk about this in the tour, but I sort of was like, you know what? I don't want to. The version of me that I want my daughter to see isn't a hungover or drunk me, and it's I enjoy. I went to Oasis sober. It was an amazing thing, and I was looking at people around me who are just absolutely wasted, who are missing this incredible. I thought it was one of the best shows I've ever seen. I saw them for years, Oasis from my 17th birthday at Main Road, but to see people so drunk they couldn't even comprehend what was going on.
No judgment,
no judgment. I've been there. I mean, every other time. Yeah,
I wasn't saying you were judging it, but I felt the same.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh no, you're missing it. But what we were saying was the irony of the fact that Oasis played to 2 million people over the summer. That was just in the UK. And a lot of people bought tickets because of the legend of the chaos, the calamity, the unpredictability of what might happen on stage. And none of that happens now. So Oasis wouldn't have been so brilliant now if they hadn't have cleaned up their act, but they wouldn't have been so in demand from a ticket point of view had they had chaos before. And I thought, this is so funny.
Yeah.
Because it's never going to... And some people were being like we would, and they would have been 20 years ago at the gig, and that's the person you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, there was a person, she was so blessed and special. The two of them, a couple, it was quite nice to see.
Lots of drunk couples. Yeah. Lots of really drunk couples.
Do you know what was lovely about it is I felt like, as the world sits, I thought... I was at Wembley for the penultimate show, and you sat there and you're just thinking, you know what, it was just a beautiful atmosphere that the guys had created, and everyone's singing. I mean, look, I'm a mass fan, and sort of sitting there, and
there was a couple when we were queuing up to get in, to go through security, through the metal thing, the arch.
Yeah,
they didn't know where they were, and that was going in. They didn't know where they were. They sort of recognised me a bit, but they didn't know where. I think they thought I lived next door to them for a bit or something like that.
Like the greengrocer.
It was so funny.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, you talk about this on Davina's podcast. That was a great interview with Davina.
Thank you.
Tom Davis got a tour. He needs to sell some tickets, guys. Come on.
Yeah, we need to get some sold.
Sort children need out, then Comet Relief, give to the veterans, and then buy a ticket for Tom's
You know what?
gig.
I was considering really just starting to go door to door in local small places.
Well, he's not struggling. Sell tickets. BigTomDavies.com. Spudgun, the tour begins in Jan 26 and goes through to February 27, and things will happen, and he'll go off piste, and more dates will be added, etc., etc., etc. So, you on Davina McCall talking about men's mental health. You got a lovely take on it. I mean, I know there's a lot of it in the act.
Yeah.
Tell us what you want and leave out what you want to say.
We were saying we're in a weird place at the moment where we have this whole thing about everywhere you go, people say, men, we need to talk. We need to talk. We need to. Firstly, when I speak to men about that, they always sort of turn around and go, I want to talk, but I don't know what to say. But then I've been at every version of this. Every version you can ever imagine of being in male company my whole life, and people talk, they talk over each other. The conversation never really stops. The problem we have is no one actually listens. There's never a moment where everyone stops and goes, sorry, I think Lee's having a bit of a problem over here. Let's see what's going on with Lee. It's very much the talking, it's about talking about anything.
So funny.
So it's trying to, this new show, trying to have that.
Men need to talk more. Well, yeah, but they also need to listen a lot more.
And also know what we're talking about, because we I can talk forever about golf, football, cold plunging, but actually talking about what's going on inside is always a bit of a difficult thing.
So the laptop. Also, the American agents experience continues, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
By the way, this Guy Ritchie to talk about. There's a few films you've been in to talk about already, which you're brilliant in. These your own productions. What's going on with you in America? Because America quietly loves you.
It does. Yeah, it's a very strange. I have a very strange relationship with America at the moment. you know what? I love doing what I'm doing here. I've never had the big expectation of going. I've surpassed anything I thought I was going to do anyway. But I love doing what I'm doing. I think that at some point, hopefully something comes in. At the moment, it feels like I get a promise of something amazing. My agent phoning me up saying, I mean, recently I had one, and the guy was turning around. And he was like, "There's a partner in your movie, and we think that you could do something. So there's an offer going out to Dave Bautista. There's an offer going out to Jason Momoa. Then there's this new guy in WWE who we think he might be half a decent actor, so we're going to go out to him." And then he goes through about another 12 people, and he was like, "And once we've been out to those, we probably then look at maybe getting a casting from you." And I was like, there's 14 people, and then it may be a casting. But the way he sells it to me is like, there's a part in this movie that we really might like you for. And that's happened for years now. I've had these moments where it feels like, oh, this is going to be the thing. Yeah. I'm not here with my violin. I've been very lucky with a few things. No, of course, it's a good story. But you are always thinking, oh, that's going to be the thing that cracks on.
So, what's the Guy Ritchie thing? Can you talk about that?
I don't know if I can. I mean, I've been very fortunate to work with a guy that's at the moment. I think I can't really say him what, but
it's got to be the gentleman, hasn't it?
He's I don't know. I'm allowed to say,
but the gentleman. Gentleman.
It's very pinch yourself, because he's like.
He's the best, man.
Man, he's incredible. Do you know what's amazing about Guy that stands out for me is in a world of remakes, and Guy is one of the few people out there shooting original films and original ideas, and he's so prolific, and he's so... I don't know. I've spent a bit of time with him. He's one of the most inspiring people I've been around, and I just love his way of working. I found when you spend that time with someone, you just like. I just love the energy he brings. He was a joy.
I mean, he's a couple of times. Like you, I don't drink anymore. Talk about it a bit, maybe too much. I hope not. But a couple of times you go, fancy that. One of the best days I had before I stopped drinking in recent times was lunch at his pub, Law of the Land.
His pub is amazing.
Exactly.
It's incredible.
So,
food
I mean, if we ever do go again, I'll meet you there.
Mate, if I ever go again, the first person, I'll call you and I'll call Guy.
Yeah,
and that's a drink I'd have.
Because it's like you're in one of his films.
Yeah.
And it's called The Law of the Land, man.
Yeah, but he cultivates such a world around him that, like, the film. I was a geek for every film that he's ever made. I adore the stuff he's done. I think it's incredible the chances he's taken and the risks that he'll take. But when you're around him, you just almost just sort of like melt away into Guy's world. Yeah. To be able to have that's amazing.
And it's also because he doesn't. There are no barriers. There is no Guy Ritchie world. You're just in it because there's no Guy Ritchie. Because once he's there, he was at this lunch with some people he'd never met before who'd bid loads of money. I got them to part with loads of money, and I got him to say he'd host them. And it was like he was one of the bidders because he is Guy Ritchie. But he's not at all Guy Ritchie.
No,
do you know what I mean by that?
He's so collaborative. He's a great, really good geezer. He's just
you want him on your side. He's he's like Brian Robson.
Yeah,
he was the captain, but if you've landed from another planet, you wouldn't guess he was the captain.
Oh, I mean, they're talking about aliens coming down. I'll put Guy front and centre into the sort of like welcoming committee.
I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, either way. If it goes one way, Guy's great. If it goes the other, Guy's pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I think Barack Obama. He did an interview with Mark Maron recently on Mark Maron's last ever podcast. And he said, there are issues. There's no, you heard it. Yeah. There are issues, but I think we'll be okay. Obviously, we need to address things. We need to stand up for our values. We need to stand up in Canada. But I think we'll be okay. And I think Guy is available for selection, but only when we really need it. Yeah. And I think if he's not called off the bench, I think we'll be okay. Yeah,
my nan said an amazing thing, right? But she's no longer. She passed. She was 104, but she passed earlier this year. She was a good old girl.
Well, she's entitled to.
No. She did. To be fair, she was always very much. I wanted to hit 100. Now she's becoming a little tiresome. But I remember going to her just like after COVID when we could first go and see her and stuff. and going and talking about, COVID and how the world was. And she went, would you just shut up? She's like, trouble with your generation, you think you're the only ones who've ever had problems. She went, go back, world wars, Black Death, there's always been problems. The only thing is you people just want to talk about them all the time. Get on with it. And it's a kind of thing that we do because of social media and everything. We're constantly, pouring over the problems. There are them in the world. They're worrying. Of course they are. But the thing we have to do as society is come together and go, how do we solve this? Yeah. What we do, there's so much division in the world that we sit here and everyone's arguing. It's quite a toxic place to be. I think people are voting on hate rather than actually going, actually this person thinks they might be able to solve. I think either right or left, everyone turns around and goes, I hate that person, I'm going to go the other one. Let's try and find someone we can all get behind a bit. And I think the world might become a bit better. But the way that we should be doing it is just deal with your little bit. Just deal with the people you're around day to day. Let's just go, actually, instead of being toxic and angry, just go and shake a hand, smile, walk down the street and say hello to someone you don't know and have a bit of a chinwag. And I think we live in a really toxic world, but we can't change. As much as you think you're important on social media, all you can really change is a little bit around you.
Yeah.
So try and do that.
Yeah, make 1% better in 1% of your life, and the world just got better even though nobody notices it.
Yeah.
And if we all do that, then it'll all be better.
Everyone will crack on.
Does this come from your dad?
A bit. I think my dad, my mum's very
your mum's solid, of course, without question.
Yeah.
But dads could go either way. Sometimes they're not
my
there
dad's
at all.
a very positive role model. I mean, he's an hilarious character.
Yeah,
but
he's hilarious. He also said that immortal line to you, didn't he? Because you're 6'7", you've always been big, and you're tallest in the room, so everybody can see you, can't hide anywhere. Yeah. And you could easily be a bully. And he said, he said to you, don't be a bully, be the funny guy.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that you have to have. And that was also, he knew what my minerals were, and he knew that to last. I spent a long time working in a very alpha-led work environment on building sites, which come onto a lot of stick, but sort of I learned everything I know from that world. But he was like, no, you have to be the funny guy because you're not going to be the other way. You're going to come unstuck. So you learn to have a bit of banter and have a bit of laugh with people. And I think that's almost, when I first came into stand-up, I felt like nothing's going to be as hard as that, being sort of 15, 16, sat in a cafe, and the moment that you start telling a story. Oh. And if that story doesn't hold within 10 seconds, you're out. You're down. And there's a chance no one's ever going to speak to you again.
And you got a target on your back for everybody else's punchline, or literal punchline. So, out of all the bits that you've done on tour, you took that famous 6-year break, of course, which was I think everybody needs to have. I did it, 1999 to 2005. Didn't intend to do it. Almost exactly 6 years, same kind of thing. Zoom out. Okay, part 2. Here we go again. What did I get wrong? Can I get anything right? Is there anything left? We made a mistake. Is that all right? Crack on. And you say that you write your stuff and you have a set, but you love to wander off piste. It's great to do that. And I wondered, out of all the bits that you've written, all of the bits, if you had a greatest hits, which comedians don't, but if you had a greatest hits of all the bits, what is the bit, since you've been doing stand-up, if you had to pick one bit to sort of, pin all your colours to, what would it be? It's very hard because I think there's more bits in this new show which I don't really want to give away than the last. Okay, let's get rid of that then. But I think that's the stuff there. I think talking that I do some stuff about my daughter when she was born, but a baby sleeping, and the idea of checking on your daughter and going in there every minute or two just to make sure that they do the breathing thing and testing and just checking she's still breathing. And I do a bit to say, oh, worry, I'm going to still be doing that at 21. And then I sort of signal going in and just sort of like checking she's still breathing, then turning around and going, sorry, mate, I'm just checking she's still. Didn't know you were staying over. That is so funny. Which is because the idea being that, that worry, I mean, she's nearly 4 now. Yeah. And the worry just intensifies us in a different direction. So just 17 years to go there. I think it'll be forever for me. I'm such a thought of it's a mad thought, and I always think if my daughter went into Narnia and came back and told me what had happened, I'd go straight through the wardrobe looking for Mr. Tumnus. Giving him a dry slap. There's he did what? The dry slap. Oh, ouch. Go. Imagine getting a dry slap from you. The smoker's punch. Did you ever encounter the smoker's punch? Do you know that one? No, go on. Oh, smoker's punch. No, if you were going to start with someone and they were smoking, they take an inhale, and then when they exhale, their jaws open, and that's the smoker's punch. Oh, wow. That's the one. That's the one, Does it work with the vape? Apparently, yeah, I don't know. Tell us about you and manifestation, because you're sort of on board, aren't you, with manifestation?
I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
I do genuinely think there's a lot of, like, I poo-pooed, like, you know, what's a mad one? I really poo-pooed, like, I had a routine about, like, ice baths and cold water therapy, and I was really sort of taking the mick out of it. The whole thing, my dad genuinely was like, my dad comes from, like, a really, really sort of, like, you know, working class background, and he couldn't get his head around the fact that people have baths in their garden, and he was like, I've worked my whole life not to have a bath in the back garden.
We all did have baths in the garden.
And now I proudly have one, and it's a sort of show of like affluence. But and then now I'm obsessed with cold therapy. It's literally been it's been the missing link for me more than anything else, between, you know, for my ADHD, for my anxiety, for a number of different reasons. It's been a real thing to cultivate, I think, you know, to me going forward as a dad and whatever else. And then like Wim Hof starts following you, and you're like, oh okay, like I'm now in the cold.
You're in the gang.
But a lot of that stuff, and I think when you can read about how to self-improvement's really everything to me now. I try and read and listen to as much stuff as I can. And manifestation, I think it's really easy to fall into a pool of having negative thoughts about yourself. And I'm 46 now. I've probably spent, you know, ever since, you know, being a kid at school, I've had a very negative view of myself, and actually trying to be a little bit more positive about how you think about yourself in a day-to-day, and actually not catastrophizing, thinking actually tomorrow, like, number one, it might not be 100% of a day, but if I catastrophize it, it's probably going to be about a 3% of a day. It's going to be an awful day, because I'm going into it with really bad energy. You know, talking about Sam Ryder there and someone who's positive, you're a positive person. You be that positive, enforce that positive thought. So as you're going into the next day, you're thinking a little bit, actually, no, that thing won't go wrong.
Yeah.
And I spent so long constantly just filled with a narrative of like, oh God, that thing's going to happen, or this thing's going to go bad, and actually wasting a lot of time and energy on that. And so manifestation, it's become a very much a thing. We talk about it a lot on the podcast.
You do a lot.
Yeah,
because Ramesh is on board as well, isn't he?
Manifestation and also meditation's his thing. He's got meditation.
And he's running now as well.
Yeah. He looks incredible.
He did the marathon, didn't he? He looks like a different person.
It's incredible. The moustache, the hair.
I like his hair.
You know,
his hair's good, man.
It's an incredible thing to have someone that you spend so much time with Rom, and who I've known for so long, but still is one of my biggest inspirations as a person. I think just how he conducts himself in this industry, the things that he does quietly, like, gets on with, and he's genuinely just one of the, you know, the nicest, kindest human beings you could ever be around, and the relationship we have to take the mick out of each other, to poke fun at each other, which is a joy. But the quiet thing that I think when I see him is, you know, and you know what, as a dad, as a husband, as a man, I think, you know what, that you esteem to be someone that's in your company all the time.
Yeah,
I think it just makes
you
that
can be a
bit
mentor
better.
and a mate.
Yeah.
What's his favourite Achilles heel of yours?
Oh, what that he like? Oh, I mean,
where does he like to go most?
Oh, mate, me getting words wrong.
Right.
He and also I think he's got a new obsession with the fact that I have an element of fake newsy Trump to me. He'll just in how
he loves the acting vibe as well, doesn't he?
He does. He really goes in on the acting.
I think he's a little bit envious.
Yeah, you know, I mean, wow, he's doing the West End now.
Yeah, I know, but it's not James Bond though, is it? It's not the new Bond villain though, is it?
One day.
Well, what do you mean one day? It's going to happen. That was very funny when you talked about Eon, and you said that you knew an Eon, and I was screaming at the podcast. I was like, it's Eon Productions, James Bond. It's like clearly on your subconscious.
Yes, yeah. He's yeah. Well, that's the manifestation I've got, big time. That would be an amazing thing.
It does happen. I mean,
you know, in a sense, the Guy thing was the thing. If you'd asked me when I started out who would be the main person that I could go and work with,
he directed me once for only a little film we did, and you know, if he's directing you for I don't know, a public service commercial, or he's directing his new film, it's the same Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
And I got it straight away.
Yeah.
Mr. Evans.
Yeah.
Mr. Evans, how about we do it like this? Mr. Evans, yeah. He's just so special, isn't he? What have you learned from him?
I mean, technique of sort of, number one, just how on set to to conduct yourself, but also just
That's so important. You don't need to move on so quickly. That's so important.
yeah. Oh mate, it's everything.
Yeah.
It's if, as a director, everything passes down. I've been lucky enough for years to work with James DeFrond, who sort of has a very similar sort of energy. I think you have to run that as and recently I've worked with Tia Sharrock, who is a brilliant director, and I think everything comes from the director.
Yeah.
So it's how you set that tone. But Guy just has a tone where it's jovial, but also he's so eloquent in what he wants. Yeah. When you're working with Guy, there's no sort of miscommunication. There's no Guy knows what Guy and like any sort of leader you're following into anything, you want to know what you're doing and how that works. You want to
know he knows.
Yeah, and that's the joy of it. There's never second guessing. There's and also very like collaborative. And if there's a moment when you're like, I could do this or do that, he's up for that. It's genuine, and I think the prolific nature of how he does things. I work hard. I work really, really hard. I don't take it for granted where I'm at and where I want to be. I'm very driven to that. But when you watch something like Guy and how he navigates himself going forward, you're like, this guy. He
means it.
Yeah.
Tom, what else? You've got 2 minutes. Anything else? Loads of things we could talk about.
We could get exciting, a few things coming up. I want to be back here August next year when everything's come to fruition.
Talk about
it's so hard because you come in and you've been amazingly supportive to me over the years. From Murdered Successful forward, you've been a great spot. It's lovely when I see you out and about in real life. You carry the same beautiful energy. And I think that I'm looking forward to coming and talking about some other bits. And that's the thing. I think going forward, there's some very exciting things in the pipeline and that enjoying life. And I think
these are in the stuff that's in the can.
Yeah. There's 4 really exciting things in the can, and we start another job in November.
So you're the new star of The Gentleman. You're the new Bond villain.
By the way, Guy, I'd have loved to see Guy do Bond. That'd have been the one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he was offered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, was he? I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure he'd been offered it because Matthew Vaughn was offered it and nearly did it and didn't do it.
Yeah.
And then Danny Boyle was offered it, started it, and then didn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see it. I mean, yeah.
Well, it is what it is. It's going to be whatever it is, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a great.
So while we're on it, favourite Bond?
It's really. I love Daniel Craig.
So did I.
I absolutely adored Daniel and what he did with it, the risk that he took for that. I think that he really it sort of elevated. But Connery,
how about we get him for free? So we'll have him for free. Who's next?
Well, you know what? I met Pierce Brosnan at Thing recently, and Pierce was great. And Pierce Brosnan, right, is I was doing this. I was doing a charity auction, and I was on stage doing the auction and stuff. And but I started the thing by saying, bit of breaking news. I can announce that I'm the new James Bond. James Bond follically challenged, and it sort of got a real laugh in the room. And Pierce really, really started laughing. And then at the break, Pierce came up to me and went, "Great stuff, really good stuff. And if it starts falling a little flat and it's not going very well, go back to the Bond stuff's great if you've got any more Bond stuff, and bring me on if you need someone to mess around." And he was so lovely.
So presumably you went back to the Bond stuff?
Yeah, I did a little bit. It didn't do quite as well, Chris, because that was a good.
Did you get him on?
No. He came on to sell his pottery. He does pottery.
Does he throw down?
Yeah,
he throws it down, does he?
I find it really hard to say pottery and throw down in the same thing.
Yeah, well, I didn't. I just said throw down. You said pottery. Yeah. Let's take that on tour. Right, you got to go. You're a busy boy.
Thank you very much for having me, Chris.
You're the best. Tom Davis. The world is better with Tom Davis in it, that's for sure. Let's hear it for Tom Davis, please. BigTomDavis.com on tour.